Okay.
Morning, dear.
Good morning. Okay, the Commissioner's Office requesting the Board approve and execute the minutes for the meeting of June 4th, 2019. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner DeWart?
Abstain.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Warren?
Aye. And also the Commissioner's Office requesting the Board approve and execute the minutes for the meeting of June 11th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner DeWart?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Warren?
Yes. Commissioner's Office requesting the Board approve and execute the minutes for the meeting of June 18th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner DeWart?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Warren?
Yes. Okay. Jerry.
On June 19th, for Water Resources, I approved the hiring of Ronald Walker, the position of pretreatment coordinator, to be effective July 1st, 2019, at the rate of $25.61 per hour with a 1-year probationary period. This offer of employment was contingent upon the successful completion of the required pre-employment conditions, and approved and executed the service contract agreement with Agra Sludge Incorporated to perform the evaluation/reporting of sludge volume at the Aquila wastewater treatment plant ponds within the department during the year 2019 in an amount not to exceed $5,000.
So, and that, is that for McFarland?
No, that's the Aquila.
No, the hire.
Oh, no, that's for the whole department. That's all of our service area, all of their service areas. I guess it's still mine technically.
How are we sitting with McFarland with the one position that we needed to fill? Is that?
That I believe has been filled.
It's been, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Morning.
Morning.
Financials.
Today's financials include a de-appropriation from the Commissioner's Office and the capital transfers out account to balance the general fund with available resources. Encumbrances include a contract increase from planning for their service agreement with Portage County Planning Commission, a travel request from JFS to attend the Federal Grants Program Compliance Training in Pittsburgh, contract PO from maintenance to Philip Miller Construction for various concrete projects in the county. Among the vouchers are $103,820.22 from the Commissioner's Office to the Geauga County Airport Authority for the runway lighting project, and $542,753.30 from the Engineer's Office to Roniak Paving Incorporated for the asphalt resurfacing of sections G through K on Mentor Road.
So the runway lighting project, how far along are we with this?
We're probably in the last quarter of it.
Did you see the update that I sent out the other day from Rick?
Yes.
That they're, unfortunately,
Because of the weather, I know.
Yeah.
they're delayed, but they're trying to get it finished.
But the project payments, I mean, it seems like we've done this.
There's like maybe out of the
$500,000
is probably about 150 or so.
Okay. Okay. If we could get a motion to approve the financials.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner DeWart?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Warren?
All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Prosecutor's Office and witness. Anybody here for that?
Yes, sir.
Yep. Okay. Hi, good morning.
How are you?
How are
Good,
you?
thanks.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Sure. Listening and considering our request. Again, we help victims of felony level crimes and cover the juvenile court victims. And there's no change whatsoever from last year's grant. We're requesting the exact same funding.
Okay. Any questions? No. Being none, do you want to read that?
The prosecutor's victim witness is requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute the Victim of Crime Act Geauga and State Victim Advocacy Act (SVAA) 2019 through 2020 grant application in the amount of $87,760. As part of this grant, $66,208 is being requested from federal local funds and a local match from the county general fund of $16,552. And $5,000 is being requested from SVA with no local match. This grant is for the period October 1st, 2019 through September 30th, 2020.
Okay. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner DeWart?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Warren?
Aye. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for your time.
Take care now.
Yeah. Thanks, Kristen.
You're welcome.
Okay. Jessica. Good timing. That was nice, the volunteers brunch.
Oh,
Thank you very much for
thanks for
inviting us.
coming.
Yeah.
This is nice. They are just, our clients are so appreciative of what the volunteers do with all the
Oh, yeah.
programs. And it's really-
It's really amazing how many people get involved and how much
Yeah,
everybody
over five.
appreciates it, and we have a good thing going in Geauga County for sure.
Over 500 volunteers. That's amazing.
Yeah, really, it's really something.
Karen, I think you're yours.
Yes, we are looking to get, excuse me, an agreement with Western Reserve Area Agency. We're trying to get 145 sets of vouchers, $50 vouchers. They're worth $50 each. This is for low-income seniors age 60 and over. And if they qualify, which is about 185% of poverty, they could get $50 worth of vouchers to use at contracted farm markets in Geauga County. And we get a few, Geauga. They're contracted with Western Reserve downtown.
So we're the distribution site.
Yeah, we're the distribution site.
Okay. You want to read that one?
The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute the Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging 2019 Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program Distribution Agent Agreement between Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging and Geauga County Department on Aging for 145 coupon sets valued at $7,250 for Geauga residents age 60 and over that qualify for the period June 1st, 2019 through October 31st, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes. Great, thanks.
The next item on the agenda is a 2-year contract with the Board of DD. We are looking to relocate our adult daycare services to their workshop area as we're moving forward with the facilities planning.
Okay.
So we're looking to make that effective July 1st, which is right around the corner. So we are being charged $285 a month for, I'll tell you how many square feet total. It's on an email that you have, for over 4,000 square feet. A lot of that will be shared usage. Some of the DD clients who are 60 and over will be joining our adult daycare program. So for that shared space, we're not being assessed a fee. For the office space that we have, which is just under, I think, 500 square feet, that's what we're being charged for, the usage.
So I think this is a great idea. The one on Merritt Road though, will that close you won't have any service
At
running
this
on it?
time, we are just relocating that adult daycare
Okay.
class over to
Yep.
the Chesterland site.
Oh, good.
And like I said, as we move forward with buildings and plans and whatnot,
Yeah.
we'll figure out where everything will be located at that time.
So will that be any type of interruption or difficulty with any of your residents, getting from, say, not having to go to Chesterland? Is that going to be an issue?
Actually, we looked into things with our transportation coordinator, Rudy, and we do have quite a large amount of our clients in adult daycare living on that 306 corridor.
Okay.
So it really will not be that large of a disruption.
Oh, good, okay. And then as far as the senior center in Chesterland, that'll remain the same, there'll be no change to that?
Yeah, at this time, we just did a 1-year lease. We'll be looking to do an RFP in the future, and I know Jerry and I, we spent a little bit of time in Chesterland. We talked to Don Rice about maybe some permanency and looking at what they're doing with their building and the changes they need to make. So I think with a 5-year forecast, there might be some changes, but clearly I know there's some immediate things happening right here in Chardon, so certainly we want to get through that first.
Sure, okay, great.
Nice.
Now, I think, any way we can utilize that facility and that property, it's
Yeah, we've had a number of conversations with Don about
That's great.
what maybe it would be used there. I know he's had some discussions with who's the owner?
Living Foundation.
Yeah.
oh, yeah, yeah.
Foundation. I think it was Western.
And they're on board.
No. I was thinking Western
I
Reserve.
had something in my head, and I knew
But-
it wasn't right. But
Yeah.
yeah, so he's had the conversations with the Living Foundation about what they can do,
Right.
violating the.
I would imagine they would be favorable, in this type of activity.
And he has said
Yeah.
they've been very favorable.
Yeah.
They understand the issues that he's dealing with
Yeah.
all the changes the state has made for DD, that
Yeah.
you're not putting them in a school,
Yeah.
in a separate school anymore. And
Yeah.
you've got
Or
those-
workshop for that matter.
Right.
Yeah.
So
They probably just want to see that put to good use. I think that's the purpose of it.
Yeah, I think they more or less said as long as it's being used for, still used for some kind of public use or something that can in some way benefit that citizenry.
Right.
They're good.
Excellent. Okay, great. If we could get a reading on that, please.
The Department on Aging is requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute the agreement between the Board of Development Facilities and the Department on Aging for exclusive use of space, including the multi-purpose room, staff lounge, side room 109, located at 89 East Cedar Road, Chesterland, for a 2-year period, July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2021, in the amount of $285 per month or $6,054 total.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. DeWart?
Yes.
Mr. Spillier?
Aye.
Mr. Lemon?
Yes. Great. Thank you so much
If
for
I
that.
could just have one
Sure.
moment in your
Yep.
time, I placed a call to Jerry the other day, and I just did want to bring something to your awareness. I have been receiving some phone calls from concerned seniors in the area after the article that came out in the paper about the Chardon School levy. So I just wanted to make you aware that I am getting some calls about that potential levy. I would say I'm getting no indication that no senior is not for education. The concern that I'm receiving is individuals are calling who are looking to retire very shortly or who have retired, and they're very concerned about that flat income and increased expenses. So we are receiving those kind of calls of concern. So I just wanted to let you know that we are receiving those.
Good. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, thanks.
Okay. Morning, Dave.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Before we get started, we did refer a revolving loan fund client yesterday to Don at Metzenbaum. They
Oh, is that
need a
right?
Bigger space. They're looking for space in Chesterland, so maybe that might
Work out. Yeah.
They create gluten-free mixes, so like pizza crust, and they're currently selling at Sage's and Richard's Maple. So they need more space to be able to put together their product.
You got assembly.
That's a growing item.
Yeah.
Gluten-free.
Big deal.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks.
All right, so we're number 9 on the agenda. So our office is requesting approval to make changes to our Ocean account. So Ocean is the account that we have with the state, and that's where we manage our CDBG funds, our application. So I used Ocean to submit our application last week. Everything went great with the application, so now we wait to hear back in September when we get the official award letter. But the Ocean account needs to be updated, so we have users, staff that's still on our account that we need to remove, so the previous Jessica and Kelly, and then I need to be added to the account.
Okay.
Jerry. Is also being added too. He
Yes,
wasn't on
Jerry's
it
being
previously,
added.
but you're also on it.
So then we'll
Okay.
need Mr. Lennon to sign, and
Sure.
then Jerry will need to sign the notaries.
So is this language, I don't see their names in there though.
No, it's listed on
On
the
here?
actual form.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you'll be able to see who we're removing, and
Okay.
then that we're adding me.
Okay, I
This
saw
is-
them here, but not on here. Is that all right? Do we need it?
Yes.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
Because the
Okay.
backup documentation is attached to it.
Great.
There's your removal.
Okay. If we could get a reading on that, please.
The Department of Development is requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute the Ohio Development and Services Agency Office of Community Development Ocean Users and Rural Assignment Form.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. DeWart?
Yes.
Mr. Spillier?
Thank you.
Mr. Lemon?
Aye. Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Let's see. Good morning.
How are you
How are
guys?
you?
Good.
All right.
I'm still shocked that there's sun in Ohio.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Right, because it's gonna be
Yeah.
gone.
I feel like I'm dreaming right now.
5:45 like clockwork. Last night we had a baseball game.
Right, and right.
No, not
Guys
this-
are not smiling on baseballs.
No. And Mondays.
Right.
Thursdays too.
Yeah.
We've had 2 canceled as well, so yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having us. Fairly simple request we're having, but we wish we were here a little bit earlier in the month, but it's just been busy. But
Sure.
with that being said, we are asking that the board recognize and execute Resolution 19073, recognizing June 2019 as Elder Abuse Awareness Month. And just as kept you guys updated through our Family Services Planning Committee, but, elder abuse, neglect, exploitation has just consistently over the past several years risen. Our caseloads and our case numbers of screened-in cases has risen. Even in this economy, we're seeing, it's still there. And so we don't expect that it's going to do anything but continue to be, an issue as technology and other ways to exploit our seniors, and as more seniors, that are in the baby boom, group, get into the ages of 60 and above, we just continue to expect to see that to be a challenge. But it's something that we have been ready and willing to challenge to assume and continue to equip our staff to be able to confront these issues, and being members of organizations like NAPSA and OCAPS and other things where they can continue to be abreast of just what are the cutting edge issues out there that are facing, our seniors are facing. So just ask the board to recognize that, and I know Gina may have a few statistics
Yeah, I mean,
to
I
share.
think, like Craig said, our numbers are still pretty steady. We had, in April, we had 20, which was a pretty high number for us as far as screened-in cases. We've been working really closely with the Department on Aging. And this month, we're partnering at the end of the week for training for different professionals in the APS community at our building. And so, yeah, things are going really well. We have, I think, a really good staff, and they're doing a lot of good things with the seniors.
I was just going to ask that question, the back and forth with the Department of Aging, as they're in giving, services and care, they're looking for, I'm sure, certain signs of
Right, yes, they
abuse
absolutely, we work very closely together with them. The supervisor that we have, Christina, works really well with Reba. They partner with a lot of different things, lots of, like I said, they're doing the training together this week, and they are at our building at least once a month, for group meetings so that we can collaborate with each other, and yeah, things are going really well.
So can you tell them how you rebranded the team? The whole team, I don't think they know.
So we were required to have at least a quarterly meeting throughout the community that has different people that are on the committee. And so we used to call it Senior Living Solutions, and it was a time where people would come in, talk about different services that were available to the senior population. And our group, the state had put in some new requirements for it, and so we rebranded it. They're calling it the Geauga Aware I-Team, and our first meeting as Geauga Aware is going to be in July. And again, Christina and Allison and Kelsey are doing a really good job getting out in the community, talking about it, working with the seniors, and like Craig said, participating in different organizations, whether it's local, statewide, or even outside of the state.
So what you mentioned, with technology and a lot of, kind of online scams and phone scams and credit cards and that type of thing, do you have somebody that's specialized in that as far as investigating?
The prosecutor's office.
Well, I know. Okay, so you use the prosecutor. Okay.
If we have a concern that someone is exploiting someone using any means, the prosecutor's office, especially now that they have Rick Warner there, we can make a referral up to them and say, hey, look into this situation. And kind of the neat way it works is a lot of the times it's kind of the Meals on Wheels. Sometimes we get a lot of referrals through them because they step into the home, they may see something that just doesn't look right, and it may be a Department of Aging service that where it starts, where it wasn't investigatory, but we get a referral from the community, comes to us, we investigate it. If we think there's something further from a criminal or any kind of other element to it, then we can refer it to the prosecutor's office or the sheriff's department or whatever, depending on the jurisdiction that it's in. So we really have a good synergy, but the key is just with the seniors is, unlike situations as with kids, seniors have different rights than kids have, so they can say, no, you're not allowed in my house, and that's their property, and they can say, and you have to kind of respect that. Sometimes when it comes to situations with kids, it's just a different kind of situation, so we have to really respect their rights and the fact that they're taxpayers in Geauga versus
when they have a right to choose
the way
that they are.
Exactly. And you have a lot of proud homeowners that have paid their taxes for 30, 40 years and say, this is my house. And it may not be the best financial decision or living situation for them, but they're like, this is my house and this is my property. But so sometimes you kind of have to deal with that struggle. Well, do you want to keep paying that mortgage, or do you want to save, or do you want to do this? And they have the right to make their own choices.
I see.
But we've worked with the prosecutors a lot on that, and they've changed the rules to us to like exploitation and who it can be now. It doesn't have to be a caregiver anymore, and so that opens it up to be able to help more, investigate more, but also like protect the seniors a little bit more, because it doesn't necessarily have to be the person who's responsible for your care anymore. It could be, a family member, a friend, a neighbor, anyone who could be taking advantage of it.
And the state of Ohio has also increased the number of mandated reporters when it comes to concerns for seniors, including financial institutions. So now bankers and things of that nature, if they have a concern that a senior is making a really risky, poor, or strange, like you said, they can make a referral or they're required to make a referral to us. So I think that hopefully the legislature is catching up with the fact that there's more means to scam our seniors, unfortunately, as technology increases.
Excellent. Okay.
So thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Do you want to just read agenda number 10, please?
The Department of Job and Family Services is requesting the board to execute resolution number 19-073, recognizing June 2019 as Elder Abuse Awareness Month.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner DeWart?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good
Thanks
day.
for your time.
Yeah, have a great day, guys.
You too.
Enjoy the sun.
Sure. Okay, do we have transit today? No, okay.
Next two items for transit. The first one is just accepting the resignation of Mark Zimmerman as a full-time transit driver to be effective July 12th, 2019. And then with that, then advertising for a full-time driver position, and they wanted also to add an additional part-time driver.
Okay. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner DeWart?
Yes.
Commissioner Blair?
Aye.
Commissioner Klein?
Yes. Very good. Okay.
You have 8 minutes before you get to
No,
your
we
public
have-
hearing. Oh, you want to do that
One
before?
addition- Yeah, we might as well
Okay.
do that now since we have some time.
Oh, yeah.
One additional item.
Morning.
Morning, Dan.
Here to request 80 hours of unpaid personal leave of absence for our individual in our department who become a caretaker for an immediate family member to be used from June 25th to August 2nd, which at that time we'll reevaluate the situation and see where we have to go from there.
Okay. Very good. Okay, motion, please.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner DeWart?
Yes.
Commissioner Blair?
Aye.
Commissioner Klein?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good.
You
Thank
bet,
Dan.
you bet.
Good seeing you.
Thanks, Chris.
You're welcome. Sorry.
Do we need to come out of session and go into a public hearing?
Just blessed it.
No, it's part of your meeting.
Okay.
You have Mr. Dietrich now. Pay off.
Do you have to announce it as a public
He
hearing?
paid his health insurance and everything.
Okay.
Just $25 flat.
That's unclear.
Doesn't anybody ever see the finances on things like that?
That's a public information request.
Oh, you put it in already? Okay, well,
Thank you for suggesting.
I have a funny feeling he'll be in South Russell next.
Russell
Bainbridge,
anyway.
Auburn, and South Russell. So
Russell
he'll
anyway.
control all the planning in the county.
Yeah, that's entirely possible. It's
He was
entirely.
worried.
Does he come to any of the planning meetings over there?
No, I haven't seen him.
Okay, I just thought I'd ask.
Yeah. I haven't seen him over there since,
We might see you show up on the 10th over here.
yeah, did you too?
Did you go to the township dinner?
Yeah.
Or you have to be invited, or you just show up?
You need to be at least an associate member.
How do you become associate member of the township? Because I'm not a township, I'm a village.
Anybody can
Okay.
become a member. It's $20 a year.
Who do you apply to?
Friend May. Lori says that
Over in Cambridge.
put the inquiry there. She's the president.
You know, what do you think the fact
Jerry,
that Delphi didn't show up or even skipped for the meeting on Tea Party last Thursday?
Last Thursday, well, there was a Chester, meeting.
That's what I meant.
We have to do it in open session.
When the guy did a good job with the, you know.
Well, he's an apologist for natural gas.
Yeah, oh yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
he did get into some of
He's
the
knowledgeable.
details.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We're going to be projecting up on the wall behind me.
Yeah, and the question is, who pays his salary?
That's a question.
That's a question.
You can't get an answer for that. I met him, I talked to him earlier, and he's from Texas, and you know, he helped Ross Perot, and so I threw some questions out because I've been involved with a few things with Perot back in the 90s, and he's vague.
He's what?
Vague. Vapid vague, or I don't know, vacuum.
Yeah, he's a BSer.
Yes. He's a politician.
Okay. Yeah, he's got it on the top of his head, you know, just right
down this weekend.
But he doesn't say anything. It was like the big Geauga country service. They didn't say anything. They must not have liked it,
Yesterday
right?
morning when it was raining, they had to back it out into the driveway. Because the garage door's too low.
It should. Because it's down a
I
rabbit hole.
forgot to put it back up on Sunday night.
If you have, say, 10%, if they aren't going to Alcoholics Anonymous, if you say 10%, you're lucky. And then they hire, that's constant. There's no nobody sees their resume, nobody sees their anything.
Yeah, I believe that's true.
We're almost there?
Almost.
I know what
Jerry went to go get a piece of paper off.
I run programs.
Yes, you can.
Well, it's getting traffic in Lee County.
I think I'm all the way out.
Well, their taxes are gonna go sky high too. But the money's going out around.
You have to push the hot button.
I had it on before, I thought it just stayed off while it was shut.
I think when you close the
It's amazing, they don't take
screen,
your house.
do you want a chair up here? I'm gonna sit in another.
Should they drive by periodically to build a night
Okay.
look, put a flashlight?
Here, you want to sit?
Well,
Someday they might.
do you want to move from?
It's fortunate that all
I
the
need a motion to waive the reading of the legal.
they'd be checking me out every day.
Second.
Commissioner DeWark?
Oh, no, they
Commissioner Spudler? Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWark?
Has anybody talked to Skip about what they call engine crack blades and all that?
Commissioner DeWark?
He's
Can I have your vote, please?
That was done solely to nail Skip.
Yes, you can have his vote, or yes was his vote.
Yes, vote. We're good. The floor is yours.
Well, it's that time of year again for start looking at the budget for 2020. And this tax budget is the first step in the process. And Adrian, we've asked all the departments, we went out, sent them a letter and asked them to submit their budgets for this year, or for next year. And they were to assume an overall 0% salary increase in the 2020 budget. And then not to budget for any increases for their routine cost of equipment acquisition. So with that, I will turn this over to Adrian to present.
Okay, thank you very much for everybody for being here. Do want to say thank you to the commissioners for all their support in developing and moving through the 2020 tax budget. For Jerry as well as Debbie and the auditor's office too, specifically Ron Leidy and Bev Sustar for all their help in nailing down some of the property tax numbers and different things like that for next year. So do appreciate everyone's help, and without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into this. So as you can see, for the 2020 tax budget, it's $122.3 million. This is approximately $2.4 million or 2% more than the 2019 adopted budget, due in large part to the extra pay period that the county will be paying in 2020. The extra pay period has actually added about 2.3% to the budget, but as a result of our conservative budgeting, all the non-payroll related expenses are actually budgeted to decrease about $400,000, and over half of that was in the general fund, or $225,000. The general fund's portion of that $122.3 million is $35.3 million, and there is about $2 million worth of unfunded requests. As you can see, the general fund requests there at $37.3 million. And the largest items among those $2 million in unfunded requests was $338,000 in equipment, vehicles, and some contract services, $937,000 associated with personnel-related expenses, and about $614,000 of that is in the Sheriff's Department alone. And we have $675,000 that was pulled back that we would like to be able to bring back in during the supplemental for our emergency fund. And as I already mentioned, 2020 we have verified that it's a 27 pay period year, and for the general fund alone, that's probably about $610,000 in extra payroll that we'll be experiencing next year. So.
Yeah, some of this is a little bit of a review for you. I'm just looking at where all the revenue comes from to the county, to the county. Where does it all come from? And there's several places, from the sales tax, property tax, fees, fines, the casino tax, some property tax transfers, and prisoner housing, and a few other little things, interest income, and local government tax, things like that. You can see the largest two sources are the sales tax and the property tax. The property tax I'm going to break down in a few minutes. And the sales tax to the general fund makes up about 46%, and that's about $14 million. To us, and property tax comes in at about $7.9 million. And incidentally, with the sales tax, as you know, in Geauga County is 6.75%, of which the county only gets 1%. The rest goes to the state. And also a little note that we are at the 6.75 rate, but there's only, of the 88 counties in Ohio, only 2 are lower than us at 6.5. So in looking at, I want to break down the property tax.
Before you go there, the one thing that's nice about that I always look at as being nice about the sales tax is the way that the retail is set up in this county. I don't know what the percentage actually is, but there's a percentage of that sales tax that's actually not Geauga County residents paying it. You have residents from Concord coming down to shop at the facilities here in Chardon. Same thing with the facilities down in Bainbridge Township. You have Solon residents, and so you got outside county residents coming in, and we're getting tax money from them. So it's kind of it's a little bit of a benefit because it's not our citizens paying that entire tax.
So if you own a home in Geauga County, you pay property tax. So I want to take and look at just $1 and see where it goes and how that all breaks down. As you can see, the largest part of that dollar, 56.2 cents, goes to the school district. and the other 2 cents to the joint vocational school district over there. And with the townships, cities, and villages, they get about 16.7 cents out of that dollar. And the library gets 3.5 cents. And Geauga County programs about 21 cents out of that dollar. So I want to look at that 21 cents and show you how that breaks down. So as you can see, all the green areas, those are actually funded by levy. Those have been voted on by the taxpayers, and leaving only that small chunk of the general fund, and the general fund actually receives 4.1 cents. So out of every property tax dollar, the general fund is really only receiving 4.1 cents. The largest portion of the dollar is going, of the 21 cents, I mean, is going to the developmental disabilities. That's at 6.5 cents. Park District, 3.3 cents. Children's Services and the mental health are both getting about 1.9 cents. Roads and Bridges and Senior Citizens, they're both each getting about 1.6 cents.
Where's the library again?
The library is, it's not out of the, this is the general, this is,
this is just part of
this is the county.
This is the 21 cents at the top
Yeah.
there. The library is separate.
Yeah.
So from this next slide here.
Yeah, so if you go back a minute, Adrian.
No, sure.
So the 3.5 cents is a part of the dollar that we receive. And now I'm breaking down the 21 cent section that comes to the county programs. So in the county programs, this is how that 21 cents is broke down. So, general fund, I'm just passing it to you.
Okay, for 2020, we're looking at, this is the revenue overview for next year. We're looking at about 30.3 million. That is an increase of about 900,000 from this year. The casino tax, prisoner housing, and fees have consistently been over their budgeted numbers for some time now. So prisoner housing is already over budget, and the casino tax will be soon. It's important to note that the increase in revenue that we're showing here is not an indication that the county has created any new taxes or fees. We've already been receiving this revenue, and it's just become now part of the budget instead of it just being part of the carryover. We made this adjustment, a conservative adjustment to these revenue items, which we felt were necessary in order to absorb the impact of the extra pay period on the budget for next year. All other sources of revenue have been held to at or very near their 2019 levels, including the real estate and the sales tax. So this is a look at a breakdown of the revenue for 2020. And it goes all the way back to 2010. So for those of you who were here with Dave Lair, he always talked about this millage shift. When we were financing, we kind of moved some money before it came into the general fund in order to pay off the debt for the safety center. So that's, as of 2018, that kind of became part of the budget again. Revenue has been going up. We have been, though, conservatively budgeting that revenue and limiting the amount of carryover that we include in the budget. This differential here is going to become important as the county looks to build new buildings and finance that and try and do it as efficiently and effectively as possible. So we continue to budget our revenue's conservative, even though revenue at this time seems to be going up. And the largest thing in here too is this purple part, which is the sales tax. So because the county has embraced logical development and again, very conservative development, sales tax has had the opportunity to grow and be able to provide the county with the funds that it needs and the flexibility to meet some of the needs that we've had and have coming up as well. So
At this point, too, we're about 300,000 ahead of last year on
the
sales
tax. And that's all with being, what, among the third lowest taxed counties in the state. So that says a lot about how efficient the different departments are being run that are funded as part of that sales tax. So this is a breakdown of what we consider the available resources. So for next year, as I mentioned, we have a $5 million unencumbered carryover balance that we're assuming, and this would be the cash balance of the general fund that we're assuming it as a minimum for next year. The new revenue that we're expecting is $30.3 million, so we have a total of $35.3 in total resources, which we budgeted for expense-wise for next year. And as I mentioned before, that's about a $900,000 increase over 2019 numbers. So moving on to the expenses. So the 2020 general fund operating expenses are $32.1 million. Now this is all net of our transfers out accounts. So when you add all the transfers in and everything, it comes up to the $35.3 million. Now this is a decrease of $2.2 million over 2019 budget. But before anyone is amazed by this incredible 6% budget decrease, please keep in mind that $1.2 million of that was election equipment that the Board of Elections is planning on purchasing this year, as well as the lowered emergency fund budgeted amount right now, and that takes up pretty much all that difference. The actual decrease, as I mentioned earlier, is more in the neighborhood of about $225,000. So once again, there's no budgeted increases in employee wages for 2020 unless it was mandated by a labor agreement. This year the county has budgeted for a 5% increase in the county portion of hospitalization. However, that increase is variable for the permanent appropriations and will be determined once the renewal for next year has been revealed. The number and how it will be divided up is subject to change. And you can kind of see down here kind of what history has showed us as far as our hospitalization is concerned. In 2018, we had a 4.5% overall increase, which was divvied up between the general fund, employee contributions, and plan changes. In 2019, we actually had a decrease in our premiums of 1.2%, which we held the employee contributions though the same, so that was a savings to the county. And as I mentioned already, the 5% increase has been budgeted, and we're waiting for the permanent in the fall to see where those costs will be coming from. There's $1.2 million of equipment from the 2019, as I mentioned, that is not included in there, and $675,000 from the emergency fund. That's not part of the budget right now. So a breakdown of that $32.1 million is right here. So you can kind of see, obviously, hospitalization, Medicare, salaries, and OPERS is about 66% of the expenses for the general fund. Contract services include, that's in that 7% right there. You have buildings and grounds maintenance, cleaning, and security. In the other expenses there, the 25%, you have items like legal fees, workers' compensation. utilities, fuel, travel, training, advertising. The equipment is about 0%. You can kind of see that real thin blue line. Excel couldn't even pick it up in there. I tried to expand it or do something different with it. I couldn't get it to come out. But so, and then materials and supplies is at 2% of the budget. So here's a breakdown by operating category. So you can see here the largest amount is public safety at $12.3 million, or 38.2% of the budget, and that includes the sheriff, the coroner, and the building department. Next would be the legislative and executive at 10.9, or 33.8, and that includes the auditor, commissioners, archives, prosecutors, all those departments down there. A new one is this engineer tax map. That's come back into the general fund from the REAF fund at the auditor's office. So it was determined that the best place to run that was out of the general fund. So judicial is about 5.5 million, or 17.1%, and that includes clerk of courts, common pleas, juvenile probate, muni, jury commission, and public defender. The remaining categories are small. Conservation and recreation includes the OSU extension and soil and water. It's less than 2% of the budget. Human services is the Veteran Service Commission, which is just over 2%. Health is the Bureau for Children with Medical Handicaps that is required by the state that the county fund 0.1 mil to treat handicapped children in the county. Miscellaneous, that's there. That includes youth center funding, legal fees for appointed counsel, our annual insurance liability, postage, Court of Appeals, just to name a few.
So on that handicapped children one, does that also go through DD or no?
No, that's we fund that entirely. So yeah, that's our portion that the county has to pay.
But where are those? Some of those? Can you give some examples of where those funds are going?
The handicap ones?
Yeah.
I know it all goes toward treatments, and they're all within this county. I mean, we are mandated, they let us know, I mean, the portion that we have to pay into our budget, we don't have a choice.
I think that does get transferred, though, I think.
Who administers that?
I think that does. It's a cash transfer that I do.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think that does get, or do we get billed for that?
Yeah.
So does that go to the state
every
then?
time.
That goes to the state?
We only are responsible for paying the treatment, and the treatment is, when it's invoiced, it can be a different amount. It's a different amount every month. We've never, I shouldn't say that, but in the time that I've been here, we've never fulfilled that full amount. It's usually less than half.
Yeah, we're just required to budget for the 0.1 mil.
Right.
And then depending on what the treatments are that are happening, the state then bills us for that. So as our portion.
Yeah. Because there's treatment, diagnosis, and we are only responsible for treatment.
So this is more of a numbers breakdown from this year to next year. Public safety did decrease a little bit. Legislative and executive decreased. Now that's part of that 1.2 million that was from the Board of Elections for their equipment. That's the main reason for that decrease. The judicial went up slightly, and the rest of them remained the same from this year to next year.
As an add-on to that, handicap, all those, when I get that invoice, I get a breakdown of every child that's been treated. I send that to the health district for verification because they have the record, and then they submit that back to me with approval to pay.
So as we look to the future, we're continuing our conservative approach to revenue and expenses. We're looking to maximize the utilization of our available funds to improve county buildings, increase operational efficiencies, and available workspace, and building new approaches to attracting and retaining businesses in Geauga County. Now, one thing I will say about next year's budget is there's nothing really at this point that's reflected in there for the new buildings and the building projects that the county is going to be undertaking. Once we have hard, fast numbers and things like that for that, we're looking to go out and get the funding for that, and probably we'll be making some adjustments not only to the chart of accounts but also the the budget numbers and things like that in order to accommodate whatever our final needs are there. So, and that pretty much concludes the presentation. So if there are any questions that anybody has, we would be happy to attempt at least to answer those, or agree to get back with you. Any questions?
Thank you. I have one question for you.
Yes.
Just for clarification, the levy dollars that you were referring to that was dispersed to the county, that's inside millage.
I believe that is. You're talking about this one right here?
No. So if you go back to the original slides where you're talking about where the revenue comes from.
Talking about this one?
There you go.
Okay.
And so, well, that's
No.
Yeah, that's property tax. So the property tax that we're referring to there, this is all inside millage. So if somebody votes for a levy, Chesterland, for example, has an EMS levy, that's not showing up here.
No,
That's
and yeah,
not
this is
included
the
in that.
average too for the whole county. So some of these, like if you look up your taxes, you may see, oh, well, my school district is a little bit more, my township is a little bit less, my, some of these different things might be more or less. This is the average though for the whole county. So, yeah, you are correct.
So it's not, may not be a completely accurate representation of what's going on specific to my township.
Correct, yes.
Or,
Yeah, this is just the average for the whole county. All
But
the
the
townships.
county operates on the inside millage, it doesn't operate on any outside, well, outside of like, there's special levies passed for environment and aging and around and so on and so on and so forth. That's outside millage stuff. But anyway, that's just for clarification.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. Yes, sir.
How do you pay for veteran services? Is that government from Washington or?
I would imagine that they probably do get some money from that, but they have, by law, I think we're required to have, what was it, 1 mil set aside for them.
Okay.
They have the right to request that. It's built into the property tax. So they have consistently, though, budgeted very conservatively over at the Veterans Commission, and they haven't come close to, what they have the right to request. So they've been very good, as far as running an efficient operation. So. Any other questions? Yeah, this is just a public meeting, so next week the commissioners will be voting to adopt and approve and sign the budget, so on July 2nd. So if anyone does think of any questions or have anything, feel free to send them in. You can call into the office or email the commissioners. The email address is on our website, so we'd be happy to address any questions that anybody has.
Excellent. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And close the public hearing at 9:37.
Good job.
Missed you.
No, listen.
Thanks, Dave.